Yeah, so we live in, I guess, what's considered Marconi Plaza. We're on the west side of Broad Street on Hicks between Oregon and Chunk. So we're kind of in between like Marconi Plaza, but like a block and a half away from Girard Estates. So we're in an interesting neighborhood. We bought our house here in June of 2012, and we have been here pretty happily since. And Clementine joined us about 8 months ago. So it's me, my toddler, and then my husband and I. And yeah, we like the neighborhood. The neighbors are pretty nice. There's a lot of like old school South Philly roots, but there's some younger families moving in too, which is nice. I had not thought about it before we considered buying. We got pregnant and we're renting, and we're in a really old building, and I was concerned about the physical situation of that building, and we became pretty much engrossed in buying a house quickly and started looking. And as everyone knows, the market is extremely high, overpriced in my opinion, and so we started looking in neighborhoods that we couldn't afford in, and so we wound up going further and further south, Broad. And we started looking in this neighborhood, and we thought it was lovely because, you have like FDR Park, and the sports complex isn't far, and there's just, to me, there's much more like grass than living in Center City. But we didn't consider the fact that the oil refinery complex was so close. In fact, I don't think it was until I started like driving with my toddler to Baby Wordplay in Grace Ferry that I passed it and was like, wow, what the heck is this? Because I just had never really come this far south into the city, and it wasn't a consideration when we looked for a house. So yeah, it was, we're happy we're here, but it was not a thought that crossed our minds. We were kind of just like, okay, let's find a house that we can afford in a safe neighborhood. That was pretty much our game plan. I'll be honest, the last 2.5 years have been kind of like a blur between starting my own business and having my first daughter, and then shortly after, getting pregnant with my second. It was always kind of like on my radar, but I always kind of just felt overwhelmed by the idea, and so didn't really seek more information. It was just kind of like, well, if something were really bad, it would come to me. If something were going on, I would hear about it. I wasn't really proactive about gathering my own information, partly because I was kind of just living in my own little bubble of motherhood, but also, because probably in the back of my head, I was a little concerned and was like, well, we bought a house here, so what are we going to do now? But no, I wasn't proactive about trying to gather information until it kind of like fell in my lap when I was walking past the Donatucci Library and saw a sign about a local Neighbors Association meeting hosting a spokesperson, you, from Clean Air Council. And that was the first time that I was like, all right, this is something that I should go and attend, because I've been interested in hearing about gathering information, but here's my chance to actually, take a step in the right direction. I think I'm definitely concerned about it. I mean, just being, a mom, I feel like, yeah, I'm definitely concerned about the future for our children, and, what the environment is going to be like. Certainly, 2, 5, 10 years down the road, will we be able to stay here? So yeah, I'm concerned. I also think, I am interested in learning more and being more involved, because, just because we bought here doesn't mean that we have to stay here. And if, information surfaces that becomes, a little bit, if it becomes concerning, I definitely think that we would consider relocating to a better part of the neighborhood, because we certainly are close to the oil refinery complex, and it's definitely on my radar, something that, I want to be proactive about moving forward. So I'm really looking forward to having more accessible information, as opposed to looking at these, I think, confusing websites and trying to differentiate information. So I'm really looking forward to something that has a more simple approach, that has that information that I feel like we should be able to access easily. I would love to see, what the cause of, what the oil refinery is doing and how it affects our air. I would love to have that information more accessible. And I would love to see, I feel like there's some initiative has been taken to make our city more to make it cleaner and safer to navigate, to walk and push a stroller. But yeah, I feel like sometimes I just get frustrated with the city because I feel like there are people like myself and some of my friends who we try really hard to be proactive and report things, and sometimes I feel like we're not met with as much steam or momentum as we're trying to provide. So I'd love there to be, I don't know, more accountability from the city, I guess, or just more realistic expectations, or a better line of communication even to allow us to communicate issues that we have in our neighborhood, because a lot of times I feel like there's just no point. I would love for them to have a stronger presence in our community, even if it's like we're having a park cleanup this Saturday it's Love Your Park this Saturday, but I'd love to see, hey, maybe they'll be there. I don't know. We'll see. Probably doubtful, because why would you, as the oil refinery complex, participate in like a park cleanup? But yeah, I'd love for there to be, if they could be a presence, if they could provide information to us that would make us feel a little bit, more at ease with what they're doing. Yeah, I think that would be great. I'd love for there to be, some website or somewhere where we can visit to see what they're doing and why they're doing it, and how it affects us and our environment. And of course, I'd love to see more participation in like local neighborhood meetings and civic meetings and associations, because I think just having them present would be helpful in answering our questions and addressing our fears and concerns about the overall well-being of our neighborhood. I know that it would put out maybe 300 plus jobs. I guess I go back and forth. My neighbor is, he's a worker at the oil refinery complex, and so there's always concern because people struggle already. And so I don't want to I wouldn't want anybody to lose a job and not be able to, provide for their family. But at the same time, if the information comes to the surface that is clear that it is damaging our environment year after year, then yeah, I would love for there to be, I would love for it to, I don't know, eventually go away, to be, I don't know how that would even happen, but I'm definitely not like, yes, oil refinery complex. I definitely would love to see, to see it fade away, or to see, to see something be done about possibly, of course, not making it larger. I definitely don't want that to happen. I don't want to see any expansion, but yeah, I'd love to see, I don't know, something be done about the future. If it's hurting our environment, I'd be willing to sacrifice, unfortunately, some people's jobs so that we could live in a cleaner, healthier environment